This is Don't Panic, episode number 346, recorded September 7th, 2022. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this episode of Don't Panic, the technology podcast on gadgets, the internet, and of course you. I'm Sean Jennings, joined by a guy who took his photonic engine all the way to the dynamic island. It's Colby Rabidou. Good evening.
Yeah, that's me.
The only thing I missed was, because I did write down new stupid Apple, I couldn't get action button in there. I tried. I said, is there, can I, but I'll stick with, those were the three big stupid things I wrote down.
Yeah. They had some choice vocabulary introductions today.
Yeah, we've really hit a whole new era of superfluous marketing terms.
Right. I don't know. I'm excited to get into it. But before we get into it,
please.
I went to work today. Wednesday is the day I usually go to work. And I was coming home from work and Laura was leaving work and we corresponded and we were like, okay, neither of us wants to cook dinner. So we're going to go there on the street that both of us, like she walks up the street, I walk down the street to get home from work. There's a new restaurant. And so we were like, all right, we're walking by basically. We're going to meet at this restaurant and go to dinner. So I go to this restaurant and, I go inside to check in with the hostess. I check in with the hostess. She says, sit anywhere. So I go, it's still outdoor dining season, barely. It got cold, but it was fine. So I go outside and I pick a table, next to some dude and I sit down at the table and wait for Laura, and Laura gets there and we switch seats for whatever reason. And we got our food, whatever, as you do. And as we're sitting at dinner, this guy keeps talking. It's like, this guy sounds so familiar to me. And finally, he was talking about programming or whatever. And it just dawned on me that this is a person who I interned at Facebook with.
Oh.
Sitting at this table randomly. And I think I kind of knew that he lives in Cambridge or something. I kind of knew this. And so as they were, he and the lady he was with were getting up to go, I was like, are you Max? He was like, oh my God, Colby, what the heck? So we had a nice moment, but he was like, how are things? Are you still doing the podcast? This is a person I haven't talked to in, literally 10 years. Where we were 21 when we knew each other for 2 months or whatever. But that was, he remembered and he was very impressed that we're still doing it.
I was about to say, I hope you hung your head in shame and just said, yeah.
Well, I think Laura rolled her eyes or made a funny face or something because we had just been talking about how we had to leave dinner so I could make it back in time to do the podcast tonight, which is on our non-traditional evening. But I thought that was funny. That's what I'm known for is the Don't Panic podcast. That's the
wow.
We're still going strong.
That's incredible. I hope you asked if he's a subscriber. Has he been listening this whole time?
I should have said you haven't been listening. Shame, but yeah.
Well, word's gotten around my office that I do podcasts. I don't really brag about it necessarily, but it comes up in conversation once in a while. And now people ask me about it and where can they listen to it? And right. I'm certainly not embarrassed of the show. That's not the case at all. But I do talk about my coworkers on the show with the explicit idea that they don't listen.
Right, that they've never listened.
And they never will. So I'm kind of yeah, you could. It's fine. It's yeah. And then they always are especially ones who they're oh, is it kind of name famous podcast? And I'm yeah, yeah, it's just like that. They're like, it kind of sounds like Reply All. I'm like, sure, yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Right. I like that. I don't know. Like we had a podcast before Serial season.
Oh, way before. Years before.
Right. Like seriously before. We have a lot of cred, I think. I like to think that after our podcasts have like fizzled out and no one listens to them again, we will still be producing this program.
It's classic us where we were at the beginning of the wave, just totally missed the wave. Then the wave crashed, and then we're still hanging out. Like at some point you would think like, wow, we were early adopters. We were on the ground floor of this huge multi-billion-dollar industry. And somehow we've moved absolutely nowhere in 10 years. It's almost impressive in that respect.
Right. One of my coworkers likes to ask people that he meets if they want their life to be like high mean or high like variance. And
that's smart.
Yeah. And I think as podcasters, we're very clearly high mean people. We've been having a good time this whole time.
The whole time.
I think we'll continue to do that.
Well, I did just have to, which is I think the third time since we started doing this, I had to upgrade my Dropbox storage again. And turns out I'm now at the highest tier that Dropbox will allow me to pay for. So I might have to like set up my own server or something at this point, because
like offload some of it onto DVDs or something.
I mean, I was going to say like cold storage, but yeah, CDs, sure.
Yeah, right.
No, I do keep a local external backup as well, but I'm just I'm like, I don't know why I would ever need all these files like at a moment's notice anywhere on Earth, but I'm ready in case that comes up.
We can, I feel like we could probably like, if we need to, for the sake of, for posterity, I wouldn't want any of the Don't Panic, archive to be lost to history. I feel like we could figure out some way to get it onto like AWS or something for pretty cheap.
I just looked. The entire Coffee and Beer Enterprise is 3/4 of a terabyte by itself. And I know I've read many stories where they like can now etch data onto crystals or like into DNA, so it lasts forever.
Ooh.
Or it's like that seed vault they have in Antarctica where they put all the seeds.
Right.
We've got to come up with a way. What was it? The Voyager satellite with the gold record they launched into space. That's what we got. We got to put this show like on a flash drive and strap it to a model rocket and shoot it into space or something.
That's smart. Maybe that's something we should do every year. We should persist. We should like create our backup for the year in a non-traditional data format.
Figure out a way to, sink it to the bottom of the ocean or something. I think. Yeah. I mean, we certainly could go a more financially lucrative route. We could just NFT our archive and sell them off one by one, and then they're not our problem, and we made money.
Right, and they're on the blockchain, so they'll be there forever, right? That's how that works.
That's right. Own an episode of Don't Panic. Right. We have a lot of them.
What a time to be alive.
Sad, but we're doing all right. We're doing good. No Dan this week. He's off doing Dan things. Busiest man in America.
Mm-hmm. I don't even know what he's doing. I can't keep track.
It's hard. And he didn't even give us an excuse. Usually he'll say like he's traveling. This time he's just MIA.
He's gone. I hope he's okay.
Maybe he was in Cupertino today.
Can you imagine?
At that, it just pans and Dan's just sitting in the audience.
Right. Dan got a press pass, but not the rest of us.
Yeah, he just knew a guy. Like, yeah, my friend is a janitor at the Apple campus. He just let me in.
It like does that swoop in on Tim Cook, like, and then like Dan's there, like
just like sitting at a desk in the background, like just doing some work.
Amazing.
Yeah, it is creepy that there's never anybody at the campus when they do those videos. I don't know where everybody hides, but
right.
a beautiful big empty building.
It's so weird.
I should look up the first iPhone we talked about on the show. Probably, if I had to guess, I'd have to look at the iPhone release dates, because we started doing this in 2013.
Right.
So in 2013, that would have been the 5. The 5S would have been that September. Makes sense. Nice. Along with the 5C. I miss the 5C.
Was that the C was for color, right?
Yeah, that we had the plastic back that came in those bold colors.
Right.
I had one of those. It was a good phone.
There you go. All I remember from that time was like putting the iOS 7 beta on my phone and it not like trying to make a phone call once and it not working and realizing I had made a terrible mistake.
Yep. Oh, iOS 7. That was the wild one.
Right. Because that was the flat one, the first flat one.
That's right.
So flat.
That's right. It also introduced AirDrop. Notification classic. Center, CarPlay.
Wow.
Among others.
I can't believe CarPlay is that old. This is a small tangent, but so I have a car now. Laura and I picked up our car. We got it to Boston in a horrible rainstorm 2 days ago, and we parked. It is parked, and as far as I know, it has not yet been towed. So,
all right,
wild success.
Solid.
But it's a pretty old car. It's a 2014, so that's pre CarPlay, or at least pre general availability CarPlay. So I've been looking at aftermarket like CarPlay radio things. So that's like a project that's in my future. It's
nice. You're gonna be a car guy. You're going to be modding your car. You're going to put the big spoiler on the back, and you're going to the racing stripe.
Well, the thing is, like, all the CarPlay radio things also come with a backup camera that you can install yourself if you like drill a hole in the back of your car. I'm going to do it. It's going to happen.
You should definitely be that guy.
Yeah. I think it'll be fun. I already mod my apartment. I might as well mod my car, too. I think it'll be cool.
Yeah, absolutely. No, CarPlay is a awesome upgrade.
Yep. And a lot of the CarPlay speaker things come with like you can detach the screen from the dashboard and like take it inside or like lock it in the glove compartment or something.
I was about to say, how concerned are you about your neighborhood?
Right.
We'll find out.
I'm pretty concerned. I'm concerned enough to take it in with me. Yeah. It's going to be awesome.
I was going to say, at a minimum, you should toss an AirTag in there in case the car ever disappears.
I didn't even think of that.
You know,
I get like at least once every 2 weeks, I get one of this AirTag is following you notifications because Laura and I like walk together to the same place and like she has one on her keys and I have one on my keys. So like she gets them about me and I get them about her. I guess it's good that they do that.
Look at you two. Weird. It's so romantic. You're walking together places. You're walking past each other, going to places.
Right.
I mean, this is like incredible.
Yeah, it's true. It's quite a life we lead. So metropolitan.
Yeah, exactly. Your urban lifestyle.
Right. Walking like schmucks. Can't afford a car. But we have a car now.
Oh, I was about to say, you got a car now. Now you're part of the elite. Right. The 1%.
The automotive elite.
Where do you get gas? Oh, Boston's not really that kind of city. No, there are gas stations in Boston. I take that back.
Yeah, there are gas stations. there are gas stations in our neighborhood, and you can get gas anytime except during a Red Sox game when all of the gas stations are parking lots for the Red Sox game.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Because apparently, I guess it's probably more lucrative for them to charge like $60 for people to park there for 2 hours. And they like pack people in like, you know, like block cars in. Like they put so many cars in this the one little gas station parking lot. It's hilarious.
Well, I was surprised when I saw that they opened a second music venue at Fenway, but
that
didn't build like a parking garage or something useful.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I guess people can take the tea here. That's the you know, the rationale for no parking, which is fine. I'm like, I can deal with, you know, swarms of people on foot is fine.
Mm-hmm.
But like unexpected swarms of cars is not fine. It's bad for the neighborhood.
Strongly agree. The last couple times I've gone, my sister is in, I don't know if you know this, an Emmanuel College alumni.
Mm-hmm.
And so we flash her alumni, whatever. They let us park on campus, and then we just walk over.
Nice.
A nice
Classic.
perk.
Yeah, there you go. That's cool. Can she like photocopy that or something?
Well, apparently, I think the last time we went, they've been cracking down, and we have to like lie and be like, "No, we're only coming in for like 30 minutes. We'll leave, we promise," and just hope the car is still there. Because I guess a lot of people were doing that smartly.
Yeah, I mean, free parking, crazy.
But the good news is for you, baseball season's basically over.
It certainly is for the Red Sox. Yeah. Woof.
And you don't have to worry about that Gillette traffic, so...
No, definitely not.
You're good.
Yep, we made it. I don't know if we talked a bit about this, Dave. For the last like 2 months, they've been every day, they tear up the street outside. They do some like work on the gas line. And then at noontime, they have to fill the street back in and like repave it over. And so that is what it has to be the most inefficient way to do that you could possibly think of. Like, I don't understand why they couldn't just close the street permanently for, you know, a week, 2 weeks, whatever, and just do it, like get it done. But no, they have to tear up the street. But the gas dudes were here yesterday. We got like a fresh new gas line, and so I think it'll be done soon. It's crazy.
I'm shocked that the city that did the big dig doesn't know how to do construction projects. So
yeah. Well, they usually try and avoid it, but it turns out like the gas lines here are from like the 1800s. So
they're made of a bunch of straw, like twined together, and
yeah, they leak like a lot.
Not good. Well, hopefully it's over. That's what we transition from the road. So you're a driver now, so you get to enjoy the summer roads of construction and the winter rolls of ice and potholes.
Exactly.
So it's there's not much to win.
Right. This parking spot we found is on a street that is resident parking only, and there's no street cleaning, so we never have to move the car. So it's just gonna stay there indefinitely.
It's more of an art installation than a car at this point.
Right. It's purely a status symbol. Like, yes, we have a car. No, we don't drive it.
It's like having a Van Gogh. It's like we have a car, mint condition.
Right. Exactly. What a time to be alive.
It is. It is a time to be alive. Speaking of a time to be alive, that's a bad transition. Today, we've done it before on the show. We're going to do it again. It's an Apple announcement event. Big deal. Or is it? We'll let you decide. No, this was kind of a straightforward announcement, but there's definitely some interesting things here. Apple's Far Out event took place earlier today, this Wednesday. We got Apple Watches, iPhones, AirPods, and I would say and more, but that's actually it. Any particular place you want to start, or
should we just start at the beginning, as is?
So about 48 billion years ago, at the center of the... No, too far back. No, let's start with Apple Watches, because that's where they started. First up, we have a new Apple Watch Series 8 coming to the market. It's got a few new features, the most notable of which probably is the new temperature sensor. This temperature sensor is specifically designed to be part of women's health. The company says it can track temperature changes as slight as 0.1 degrees Celsius, and that it checks your temperature every 5 seconds, especially when you're sleeping. Apple says that tracking your body temperature overnight can help give you insights into your ovulation cycle, which it can use to enhance the watch's cycle tracking feature for those who menstruate. In addition to that, the other major feature for the watch, crash detection. It'll only run when you're driving, but if it uses an advanced accelerometer, if it senses there's a crash, it will alert emergency personnel, which is pretty exciting. And that's kind of the big changes. For the most part, a new low power mode, which will take the 18-hour battery life, stretch it to 36 hours. It'll be available September 16th, $399 for GPS only, $499 for the cellular model.
Nice. I think
Good
I have
watch?
to... I mean, it seems like a fine watch. I think I have to get a new watch because mine just doesn't really work anymore. Largely. It's like always dead.
It hung around for a long time. Give it credit.
Yeah, no, it's like 5 watches ago. Yeah, I feel like there's nothing wild here. New sensor, but
yeah, I mean, I think the temperature sensor is interesting. From what I read, the reason it is so specific in its application is the rumor, anyway, is that Apple had issues getting it to properly track general body temperature, which is other watch devices have this. So they weren't able to safely sort of medically roll it out because it wasn't accurate enough, but they were able to do it for this particular use. So it wouldn't surprise me to see in a future, maybe the Series 9, to see that feature.
Interesting.
Huh. But it seems like a nice watch.
Yeah, I feel like it's not often that I have an Apple thing that I have not upgraded in so long.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's going to be cool. Like the screen that you can see all the time, that was like 3 watches ago. And
Yes, exactly. And this is where I start to get into issues, because now there's 3 Apple Watches, the Series 8, the SE, and the Ultra. And I don't exactly remember what all the differences are between them, so I have to go to the Apple website and just double-check, especially between the SE and the 8.
Right.
Because you have to decide if you're going to get the SE or the 8.
Oh, yeah. I didn't watch the SE part of the presentation.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. This is the 2nd generation of the SE. The price actually went down. A $30 price decrease. It's now $249 for the GPS, only $299 for the cellular. It will have crash detection, and it'll be 20% faster than the old SE because it has the S8 chip, which is the same as in the Series 8. The difference is the screen is slightly smaller. You don't get the blood oxygen or ECG tracking. It doesn't have the always-on display. As I scroll through the list, that's pretty much the main differences.
I feel like I want the always-on display.
Yeah, I think that's a decent upgrade. Which that's the other thing is the price difference. You're going from $249 to $399. It's not it's certainly more, but it's not 150 is not a wild jump. Especially, obviously this is a very fitness focused device. I think the blood oxygen stuff is pretty valuable for that.
Yeah, I'm very fit. I don't know if you knew.
That's what, as soon as I hear the name Colby, the first thing I think of is just shredded, ripped stud muffin.
Right. Hardcore parkour. If you
yeah. Well, and we haven't even talked about really the watch you should be buying. Which is
speaking of price differences.
Yeah, I mean they should have just called it the Colby. Same number of letters. It's the Apple Watch Ultra, a name I absolutely love, and I hope that there's a whole bunch more Ultra I want the iPhone Ultra and I want the MacBook Ultra. That's my new favorite Apple superlative.
Yes, sir. I'm looking at this Verge article and I'm realizing I'm looking at like last week's Verge article and not.
Oh, like the rumors on it?
Yeah, I was like, where's the links to the things they actually...
Oh, sorry, I didn't do the rundown. I was lazy since there was really one news story. That's on me.
Right. I didn't critically read the rundown, and so I didn't realize that you hadn't done it.
But I will say, if you are going to go with The Verge, they have... they do a series of hands-on articles and pictures from like the reception room after the announcement, and they have a really helpful photo in there of the three watches side by side that I found interesting. So the Apple Watch Ultra, the rugged premium smartwatch at the top of the lineup. Let's start with it's bigger, a bigger display. It's a 49 millimeter titanium case. It's got a new button, the action button, the orange action button, which can be customized for all sorts of different purposes. It has a new digital crown, as well as an updated existing button to work with gloves, 3 built-in microphones, and an extra speaker. It has cellular capability by default and should get up to 36 hours on a single charge, 60 hours using low power. It has new multi-band GPS, which is mostly on high-end fitness watches, so it'll be a lot more accurate. It's better water resistance. It's certified for scuba divers. What else? It'll cost you $799, and it's a big beefy watch. It's got a very flat front. I think this watch is super good looking.
It's like I like it. I mean, it's not very Apple-y. It has a lot of things that stick out of it, but like it looks cool.
It's very. It does remind me of my old Pebble. Like it is very throwbacky a little bit. It's not super glossy and slick,
right?
And it certainly is bigger in size. I mean, you see it compared on a wrist to the other watches at 49 millimeters. It's thick, it's big. But if that's your thing, I'm like, that actually don't look too bad.
I really like, like I look at my watch now, the watch I've had for years, and like, I really like beat the crap out of it. Like there's scratches all over it and like all over the screen, like all over the case. Like there's a big like nick in the dial thing. I don't know, maybe I should just do this if I'm going to keep this watch for another 7 years or however long I've had the other one.
Honestly, I mean, it's not crazy to think.
Yeah.
Now you do have to like the orange because it's got the big orange button as well as an orange accent on the digital crown.
Right.
And like the size. I mean, this is the kind of thing I'd go to an Apple store and want to try on,
Same. Yeah.
And feel, but supposedly, according to the people who tried it, it doesn't feel heavy. It is large, but it doesn't feel heavy, which is good.
Right. It does look big on that guy's hand.
Oh yeah. No, this is a beefy watch. But if you're also the person who gets the beefy phone, or the person, there's always been this weird argument where is the Apple Watch a standalone device or a partner device? And it sometimes splits the difference, right? Exercising and things are like, no, it's standalone. It's got the cellular. You can make a call on it. But for notifications and some other things, you want to have the phone with it. To me, the Ultra is like the far end of standalone device. Like, if you're a person who can do 80% of their tasks on the watch and don't use the phone much, I would get the Ultra, because this thing's got extra buttons, it's got a bigger screen, it's got all this stuff in it, better battery.
Right.
But I think if you use it as a phone accessory, it's probably pretty overkill.
That's a good point. Oh man, I love the like red mode.
Yeah, and the even the wristbands I think are pretty darn cool for the Ultra.
Yeah.
But $799, you can get 3 Apple Watch SEs for that price.
Yeah. If I was more extreme.
You're just a different kind of extreme, that's all.
Right.
But I think it's cool. And by the way, I think if I was a company like Garmin or some of these other extreme fitness watch companies, I'd be just panicking right now, because I think this is, for that market, this thing's going to go crazy.
Gangbusters.
Yeah, no, it's a good looking watch. So, and I just love that flat front. I've never really been a big fan of the Apple Watch, the sort of curved, glossy edge.
Right.
And that flat front looks so good.
It does make the curved, glossy edge makes it very breakable, which I feel like that was their rationale for the flat front, right? Was like it has a lip, so you can't whack it on stuff.
Exactly, which is, I guess, good enough for the people who buy the expensive watch, but not for the rest of us.
Right. Well, that's how they make up their money. Like, this one costs a lot, so it's, as you said, it's the price of 3 Apple, 3 SEs.
Well, I did read, this wasn't part of the announcement, but it did come out today, that they have Apple has amended their Apple Care, where if you accidentally break your device, there's usually a small fee. It's like $29 for a new screen, no more than $99 to fix whatever you broke. But you could only do that up to 2 times. New Apple Care, you can accidentally break it as many times as you want. They've removed the cap, as long as you're willing to pay that small repair fee.
Right. See, that's nice. When I broke mine, that was before broken things were covered in Apple Care at all.
I think I still tell people that story. I still feel bad, because you had it, you had it for like a week or something?
Yeah, it was like days. And I just like bumped it off the bathroom counter onto, it was like an uneven tile floor, and it just, it hit that glossy rounded corner just on the corner of a tile, and
oh my God.
Done.
Ugh, my heart aches.
You know what? Actually, it wasn't that Apple Care didn't cover it. It was that I didn't get Apple Care because it was on me. That was my fault.
Well, that's how warranties work, Colby. When you buy them, you don't need them, and when you do need them, you don't have them.
Right. That's how they get you.
Yep, every time. But listen, if you're bored of what's on your wrist, we can talk about what goes in your ears. The AirPods Pro, we've got the 2nd generation out, including a new H2 chip. That's got a bunch of cool stuff it does. It allows the earbuds to cancel up to twice as much noise over the 1st generation. They also offer an improved adaptive transparency mode. They say something like 48,000 times a second they're listening and adjusting to filter out sharp noises while still letting some transparency through. And they also have a new low distortion audio driver and custom amplifier for a richer bass and crystal clear sound. In addition, the earbuds have the ability to adjust volume with swipes on the stem. The stem itself, now you can click it, but now it's capacitive, so you can actually slide up and down it, which that's pretty cool. Better battery life, 6 hours on a single charge, and 60 hours in the case, I think. New improved charging case that offers Find My support and a built-in speaker so you can hear it beeping. And now you'll be able to charge it not just with a lightning cable or a MagSafe charger, you can actually now charge it on the Apple Watch charger, which actually is kind of neat. The case is now sweat and water resistant, and there's a loop where you can attach a lanyard if that's the kind of thing you're in. They also have a new size of ear tips. It'll be $249, available soon.
Yeah. I don't think I'm going to get new AirPods right now, but I did I liked the case changes. Especially the Find My speaker thing. That's something I would use every day.
Yeah, it also has U1 in it as well. So not only will it do the sound, but if it's within a wireless range, it'll work like an AirTag.
Mine, I think I have the current one, which...
Have they had that?
Which purportedly has a U1. Like, I can go into Find My and, do it, and it does the screen, but it never finds it. Unlike, it'll find my keys with my AirTag, but it will never... I've never successfully found my headphones. Which is lame.
Well, that's good news. If you lose them, you can just buy new ones, right?
Oh, there you go.
That's what Apple's hoping for. No, I think this is great. I'm very curious what twice as much noise cancellation means in reality, because I thought they did a decent job already. So, I mean, I don't know how much more noise they can literally cancel.
Right.
But I do like the swiping on the stem. I was a big... back when they had the inline control on the corded version, classic. I used to customize all of the clicks. Where it'd be like double click or click, wait, click. Like they had a bunch of combos, and I used to use all of them, and I definitely missed them. So adding more customizability and more options is great. I even change it. You can change what the clicks do on your AirPods in the settings.
What?
Because I forget what they do by default. I think they both... adjust the mode.
Yeah, if you hold it down, if you squeeze and hold, it changes. It flips between transparency and noise canceling.
And if you just click it pauses. Well, if you're listening,
right? Or it will answer the phone if you click,
right?
Or and then you can double click to go to the next song and 3 clicks to go back.
Yeah, this will be great. I think I changed one of them where if I click one, it does Siri. And then if I click the other, it does something else. But I don't remember. Anyway. Yeah, it's good. I remain a big AirPods Pro fan. Certainly over the traditional ones. I just used them on my flight with the noise cancellation, and they worked fantastically. So
nice. That's dope.
Alrighty, let's continue on to the star of the show, the iPhone. Let's start with the classic iPhone and iPhone Plus, iPhone 14 and 14 Plus. What is new? There's no mini option. The mini option's gone. Now you will just be able to get the standard iPhone 14 starting at $799 and the 14 Plus at $899. The 14 sticks with a 6.1-inch screen. The 14 Plus offers a big 6.7-inch screen. Previously, that was only available in the Pro line. So you can get a big phone in the basic 14 line. There's a bunch of your usual upgrades, better battery life, new chipset, improved cameras, 49% improvement in low light image quality. Night mode is twice as fast. There's a new 12-megapixel true depth camera on the front of the screen. New technology, photonic engine, et cetera, et cetera. Really, the only sort of marquee new feature on the phone is emergency SOS. I think we may have talked about the rumor on the show a bit, but this is basically, it is your cell phone's antennas can now connect to satellite frequencies. Apple says it'll take less than 15 seconds to send a message with a clear view, maybe a little longer if there's some light foliage. And an on-screen interface guides users to point their phone at an actual satellite, which is pretty cool, and walks them through the steps to connect with emergency service providers. It's also possible to use the Find My app to share a location through the satellite without sending a message. Now, you can't call, you can't send a text message. It's only for the emergency service and the Find My. It'll be a free service for 2 years with iPhone 14 models. No word on if that means it just ends for your phone or if there's an ability to pay to keep it going. Neat.
Yeah. I just want to be able to like point my phone at the sky and know where satellites are.
Honestly, that is pretty darn cool.
Right. That seems like the best feature. But I guess it's cool. I don't anticipate needing to communicate via satellite, but given the option, sure.
I mean, I've been to a shocking number of places that don't have cell reception still in 2022, and it's not in the middle of the tundra. It's in places where people live. So it's not wild to think that this is a useful feature for folks. Is there an application outside of emergencies? I don't think so, because you actually have to. You can't just connect to it. Like, you have to make an effort to connect it to a satellite. So it's not like you're going to be on Instagram scrolling with a satellite connection. Not yet, anyway.
That's like maybe phones would be better if you had to try a little bit harder to make them work.
I love they should just make certain apps satellite only.
Right. Wasn't so
like you haven't earned TikTok. You got to connect to a satellite in space to get it.
Yes. If it wasn't so darn easy, we might not be so wrapped up in it.
I love that idea. That's awesome. Well, and the rumor is that the technology someday will get to the point where we'll be able to just go directly from the phone to the satellite and do decent amounts of bandwidth. We're just not there.
Right. Someday.
But yeah, it's neat. It's one of those things I just want to see somebody try it and do it.
It's really a shame that emergencies are the only time you can do it, because like obviously I want to try it.
Well, good news, Colby, because I'm instituting the Don't Panic Challenge. We're going to put you on the top of a mountain and push you off of it. And then you'll have to use Emergency SOS on your new iPhone, and we'll see if it works. It's the Don't Panic Challenge. We volunteered you.
Do you think they planned for obviously people are going to do this when it's not a real emergency?
Oh, there's always, you hear someone called 911 because the McDonald's fries weren't hot enough or something. Like, I can't wait for this. But that's what's also interesting, is because you can't just call 911. There's like a preset menus you have to go through, like what kind of emergency. Like, right. You'd have to basically lie to get through to anybody.
Right.
Which you should do.
Right. Maybe one of the preset emergencies is like, well, there's no emergency. I just want to try it out. I want to use a satellite. And it sends you back a message. It's like, stop it. Go home.
Well, the neat thing is you can do that with Find My. So that doesn't have to be an emergency if you just want to ping somebody with your location via satellite. So it's the ultimate, Where's Waldo hide and seek opportunity.
There you go. Amazing.
Yeah. Interesting. But we're not here to talk about the iPhone 14. iPhone 14 is, dare I say, boring. We could talk about the new colors it comes in, but even that I'm not very excited to talk about. So,
what are the colors?
They don't have the list of the names here, but it comes in a blackish, a light blue, a sort of off-white, a light purple, and Project Red.
Boring.
It would probably be better if I just said the actual colors, but I like my very bad whack descriptions here.
Right.
No, it is... let's see here. I'll be nice. It is blue, purple, midnight, starlight, and red.
Midnight. That's like my computer.
It is, although it's a very... it is black. No, or is it a heavily dark blue? It's hard to tell.
That's confusing.
Yeah, because they call blue blue and purple purple, but they don't call it black. They call it midnight. Huh.
Purple.
No, it looks black, but I don't think my monitor is particularly color accurate. So, but we got to talk about the Pro, because that's where all the new features roll out. The iPhone 14 Pro, and a couple of marquee features on this bad boy. First of all, it's the Pro and the Pro Max, $999, $1099 starting price points. And the first thing is the display. It's going to be 6.1 and 6.7 inch, same as the iPhone 14 regular. And Colby, the notch is still there, but now it's smaller. And it is a cutout, which means the screen goes around it. It doesn't go all the way up to the top of the phone, creating a little pill-like shape within the display. The interesting thing is that it's now has a new name, the Dynamic Island. Dynamic Island. Notifications now pop out of this notch in a series of animations. Notifications, alerts will sort of adapt and move around. Live activity widgets, animations, controls for music. Background tasks will move to the island as you're browsing around the phone to continue to notify you of things and make use of that dead space at the top of the phone. Before I continue on, Colby, I do want to talk about the Dynamic Island. I have trouble saying it. What dynamic is just such a tough word. What are your thoughts on the Dynamic Island?
You know, on the one hand, like one thought is like, why? But like another thought is like, I don't know. It seems kind of interesting. Like, I don't, I guess the other thought is like, well, why not? I feel like all these things kind of exist anyways. Like a lot of the stuff some of the things like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what to think. What do you think?
You know, I shouldn't give a $1 trillion corporation the benefit of the doubt, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
Let's assume for a second Apple, either because they didn't want to or didn't have the technology, couldn't bury the camera under the display and totally get rid of it. So if I'm sitting at Apple and I say, we have to have a cutout in the screen. Other phone makers do this, and they just have a little camera lens hole, and it looks weird. So I'm like, all right, we have to have it. What's the best possible way we can use this to make it look less weird? And I think this is now again, I've never used it, but on paper, I'm kind of intrigued. I'm like, all right, that's not a bad spot. It's already black, noticeable at the top. Because the screen goes all the way around, they showed in the event, they showed like watching a movie where it's full screen. I don't think it was a little more immersive than the current notch. Mm-hmm. But as I watch some of their examples, I'm like, all right, that's kind of interesting because they made the point that sort of different pop-ups in iOS are all different shapes and sizes and colors. And if this were to streamline them and pinpoint them to a single spot on your display and make it more consistent, especially with live widgets, which is a big thing in iOS 16, I'm like, okay, I'm starting to buy this. Now, I want to see what app developers do. That's the big one, is if they can create really interesting live information that ties to their apps, I think this is something I would get excited. I'm not going to lie. I kind of am excited about this.
Yeah, like, you know, I feel like some of the examples they showed, like there's like the lift in there, right? And like for things that, or like when you're ordering food or something, you know, things that like the things that you always like pick up your stupid phone and like go to the app and like refresh whatever to see how it's going. I think it could be really cool. I like the idea of that being a part of things. Like having a place for it. As long as it's not like over,
right.
You know, like I want it to be useful, but I also don't want it to be annoying.
Yeah, I wonder how you determine the hierarchy of what actually gets pinned up there.
Right.
Because they showed at most 2 different things pinned up there. Mm. But if you have a lift coming and you get a reminder and you're running a timer and you're like, I just wonder how easy that is to manage.
Yeah.
And my other concern is that it's very animated-y. Like everything sort of pops and blips a little bit. And I wonder if that'll get annoying quick. Like, I don't know how I'll feel about that in reality. Could be fun, could be annoying.
Right. I'm looking at this like GIF in the article, and it's like, showing it just go like swooping from one thing to another. It is making me a little dizzy.
Little much.
Yeah. But presumably that's not what it'll be like all the time, right? Right.
No, my hope would be that it frankly doesn't change that much, or it's very subtle. I mean, I think that's the other thing, is that some of the various notifications and things they showed, go to them being the Face ID, where it shows the little circle and it shows you approving it, to be sort of sucked up and locked into that upper space rather than being in the big middle of your screen.
Right.
I'm hoping some of that makes it feel good. But again, it's all about implementation in the software.
Right. I guess we'll see.
The other big thing that was announced for the Pro in addition to that is, for the first time, an always-on screen. No more having to turn it off. The lock screen always glanceable, which is even more important with the addition of the new lock screen in iOS 16. It'll support information like reminders, calendars, events, all those things on that new lock screen widget. There's even a sleep state for iOS 16 wallpapers that will darken them to use less battery. Basically, what they do is they kind of just dim the display, more or less. I know it's a little more complex than that. It'll just stay awake when it's turned face down or goes in your pocket. It'll automatically dim itself, but it won't turn off. Awesome.
No. Yeah, I think that's cool.
I want this.
Right.
I want this yesterday.
I used to have this on, I think we talked about this last episode.
On your Moto
my
back
Moto
in the day.
X, that time I switched.
Oh my God. I'm going to have to look. I'm going to look and see I think my screen time will tell me how many times I turn the screen on in a day.
Right.
Because it's insane. Well, pickups.
Right. And most of the
Assuming
time I'm
counts.
just checking what time it is because my watch battery is dead.
Well, that's a big one. But I'm looking at notifications. I get 220 average daily notifications, and I pick up my phone an average of 200 times a day. And I guarantee you, probably half of those are for me to click the screen on to read a notification and then click it off again. Because I don't have an Apple Watch.
Right.
So I don't get, that's the only way I see my notifications. That's what excites me about an always-on lock screen, is to have it on my desk and just to be able to glance at it. Without having to even touch it or do anything, even if it's dim. To me, that is a killer feature combined with the new lock screen. So if I can get really strong widgets and really strong notification control, that is very cool.
Nice. Sean, my notification average is 58.
Yeah, I just hate my life. And by the way, the majority of that is Outlook and Gmail. I get a lot of work emails.
Yeah, I just don't have notifications on for emails.
Yeah, I wish I could. I wish I had the liberty to do that, unfortunately.
Right.
But
it is like I also never have to respond to an email. Like if I get an email from someone I work with, not like via some other platform, it's almost certainly like phishing.
Gotcha.
And
no, that makes sense.
Yeah, that happens all the time. I got one today from our CEO. He really needed my phone number.
Just your phone number?
Yep, that's what it asked for. It was
You
like...
should just given it to the scammer.
Right.
Could have made a friend.
It's true. Just to text. I'm sure there would have been a subsequent ask if I gave them my phone number. I don't know. Maybe they would have stolen my SIM. I don't know. It's hard to say.
Yeah, that's true. I have a problem at my work because our IT department sends fake phishing emails to get us to click on them so they can yell at us for being stupid and clicking on them. But the problem is, because they're being sent from our IT department, they're too good to be real phishing emails. Like all the things you would look for, like, oh, it comes from, like, it looks like it's a company email, but it's not. Like, no, it actually is from a company email. Like, and it's like, oh, they wouldn't know the name of the person at the company who actually does this job, but IT does know. And so I get really pissed where I like have to read certain emails and I'm like, no wonder people fall for this. This is a legitimate email you sent. It's not like you have to be worse at this. Otherwise it's not fair.
That really isn't fair. You should start doing that to them, Sean.
just see if I can get them to fix. See what information, social engineer them and see what I can get
from your work email. Like try and get them to tell you information about you, and then tell them like you just got phished, idiots.
Please open receipt in Adobe Acrobat. See if they listen. I would love that. Are you excited about Always On Display, or that doesn't do much for you?
No, I'm into it. In the same way I'm excited about that with respect to the watch. I think it'll be great.
I'm thinking it's one of those, you read that where it's like you spend 5 months of your life brushing your teeth or what, those. I feel like there is some statistics where it's like Sean spends like 10% of his week clicking the button on the side of his phone to turn the screen on and off. So I'm waiting to see just how much time it could save me. It could be life changing.
There you go.
Otherwise on the Pro, new chip, new cameras, everything's more and better. I'm not even bother going through all the crazy stuff there, but it's more and better. So, are you due for an upgrade?
Well, only in that I have the monthly thing, so.
Are you going to take an upgrade?
Probably. I have a really difficult time obviously, like I have had that upgrade program thing for a long time now. And never managed to not upgrade. So I think I will. I feel like I'm a tiny bit behind, so I don't think I can do it quite yet. So I will probably wait a little bit.
Gotcha.
But I think I'm going to do it. What about you?
Well, I get my phone through the company, so I'm actually aggressively limited, and it's great that it's free, but the downside is, like, I had to fight. They wanted to give me an SE, an iPhone SE, and I had to fight them, because I said I couldn't show up on Don't Panic with an iPhone SE.
Darn right.
Get my ass kicked.
Right.
So I barely got a 13. So I'm certainly not getting a Pro. I would love to get a Pro. This is probably, I've never been the guy who needs the Pro. This may be the first one where I'm like, I could see myself upgrading to the Pro potentially, but I won't be. But, these are usually it's a big camera or, whatever. But this is like the Always On and the Dynamic Island. I'm like, okay, you've got my interest.
I want to go to the Dynamic Island. I do like the camera, I like the bonus lens, the like zoom. Or is it the wide angle?
It's actually... see, now I'm going to sound stupid. So I'm going to look it up while... We'll see how right I am. I believe you actually get an extra narrow lens.
Extra narrow? What?
Or an addition... an additional narrow lens. Because on the regular 14, it's a wide and an ultra wide.
Right.
But I can easily find out if I just... Yes, so you get... Oh, it's a telephoto is what they call it.
Right.
What does that mean?
That's what I meant, like the zoom. I don't like on mine, it's like a 3x, like in the Photos app.
It's a long focus lens.
Yeah. Yeah.
Huh.
I don't know. I use it sometimes. I use all three options sometimes, so...
It's good. I obviously I just have the 14 with the two lenses, but even the two lenses, I love having the ultra wide option.
Heck yeah.
And by the way, I will also say the deep purple. We didn't talk about the colors. The deep purple Pros are very good looking.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I'm a big fan of the royal purple. So
pretty cool.
I'm jealous. Oh, well, that's the Apple announcement. We didn't get a car. We didn't get headsets.
No Mac Minis. God damn it.
No Mac. No. Well, they're saying we might get a Mac event next month, so you just got to wait a little longer.
All right.
So close.
When is all this stuff available?
Varying dates. I think the longest thing you'll have to wait for is the Pro Max. I don't think actually ships until October. Everything else is available, will ship at some point this month. And I think almost everything is available to order on Friday.
Oh, Friday. Cool.
Yeah, it's all September 9th is like all the ordering stuff, and then they ship at various dates throughout the month. And I think, like I said, I think the Pro Max is the only one that slipped into October, but I could be wrong.
Right. Awesome.
Yup. There you go. Very cool. Well, you'll have to keep us up to date, Colby, if you decide to make any upgrades.
I'll let you know. Sure, we'll talk.
Take the challenge.
Yeah.
Anything else on your mind this evening?
Nope. I'm tapped out. My brain's empty.
Highly reasonable answer. No shame in that. No, we're done. That was a brisk hour. We managed to announce all the products in about 35 minutes less than Tim Cook in audience.
Right. They should let us do it next year.
And we didn't do any of the... You know what it is? The extra 35 minutes is all those big whooshy transitions and all the big crane shots. Like that's like a whole 35 minutes. And the commercials.
They should do like an edit of the Apple event where...
A supercut?
Right. They take out all of the talking and it's just the transitions. Like, whoosh, whoosh.
I think that would be excellent. I would love, honestly, and I'm just a dork, but I would love to learn how they make those. Like, because they're in some big fancy green screen studio somewhere, right. And I'm just like, damn, that's cool. Only Apple. So we'll wrap it up here. Of course, our website, don'tpanic.io. Check it out. We'll have links to the audio and the video versions there. It's a great old website. Of course, you can subscribe wherever you get podcasts. Just look for Don't Panic. Definitely the best way to get the show with the video version being on YouTube so you can see our beautiful faces. Of course, you can get a hold of us, don'tpanicshow@gmail.com, or tweet at us at Don't Panic Show. Dan will hopefully be back next week. At minimum, some combination of us will for more tech news and great discussion. But until then, on behalf of Colby, I'm Sean. Pleasure having you folks here. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time for another great edition of Don't Panic.